Olá, pessoal! Tudo bem? Que bom que vocês estão por aqui, porque, como vocês bem sabem, o Cambly continua com um super trial lesson de graça para vocês.
Oba!
E quem até hoje em dia não fez isso, eu não entendo. Se eu pudesse, daria um puxão de orelha enorme, porque tem professores nativos da língua inglesa 24 horas por dia. Então,
Oba!
assim, não pode de manhã, mas pode à tarde? Tem gente. Não pode à tarde, mas pode à noite? Tem gente. Não pode à noite, mas pode de madrugada? Tem gente. Então,
Oba!
vambora, né? Vai lá no cambly.com ou no aplicativo do Cambly. Se inscreve e lá em menu, em minutos grátis, você coloca o nosso código Inglês no Cru Podcast para ganhar uma free trial, um free lesson, do jeito que você quiser falar. Tá bom? Então é isso. Pode ter alguma coisa a mais?
No, go to Cambly, talk to native speakers. Let's get on with the show.
Okidoki.
Hello, hey, sweet people, and welcome to another episode of Inglês no Cru Rádio. My name is Foster, and as always, I am here with...
Alexia. Hello.
How you doing, Alexia?
I am fine. What about you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. So yesterday on the show, we started talking about a question that someone from Instagram
Claire.
asked us. Yes, so Claire asked this question about our university studies, how we decided to study what we did study in university. And yesterday, Alexia told her story about that. So if you have not listened to yesterday's episode, probably a good idea to start with that. And today, it seems like I'm going to have to talk a little bit more.
It's your turn.
Okay, so what do you want to ask me? What do you want to know, Alexia?
Well, what Claire wants to know. What do you decided to study during college and why?
Okay. So I think to answer this question correctly, I kind of need to divide it into two small parts. The first part is why I decided to study in the specific university where I studied. And then the second part, why I chose the major that I chose. Okay?
Yeah, because just to make it clear, when you go to college in the United States, you first you decide if you want to do arts, right? And then you decide what you want to study itself, right?
Kind of. So it depends. That's kind of why I wanted to talk about these two things separately. Okay?
Okay.
So like Alexia was saying, first, in the U.S., we have a lot more options for where we go to university. So from the way I understand it, in Brazil, most people go to university at least in the same state where they grew up, most of the time in the same city, if they're from a big city that has a lot of access to education. But it's not super common in Brazil for someone from Rio de Janeiro to study in Manaus, right?
Yeah.
But in the U.S., it is much more common to pretty much study anywhere. Does that make sense?
Yeah, like you decide the university. It doesn't matter where it is.
Yeah. So, for example, most of my friends from high school, most of my friends from childhood, they did study in universities in my home state of South Carolina, because if you attend university in your home state, normally it is cheaper, it's easier to get accepted. But myself included and some other friends of mine studied out of state, so in a different state. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Cool. Okay, second thing I just kind of need to explain. Many universities in the U.S., just like you were saying, essentially you go to the university and you choose your major, your area of specialization at the same time. So you say, I'm going to this university and I'm going to study medicine. And then when you arrive, you are already taking a lot of classes related to medicine. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
But we also have a lot of what we call liberal art universities. So the liberal arts, as belas artes, no?
Yeah. Yeah?
Cool.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so my university is a liberal arts university. And for the first 2 years of university, everyone has to take more or less the same general classes. So there's a big focus on humanities, on literature, on history. And this was really attractive to me because I went to university a little bit early. I was 17 years old. I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. I had
Oh,
no
baby
idea what I wanted to
foster.
study. So having this extra time just to take kind of some general classes and to learn more about myself, that was really important for me. Does all of that make sense? Are we on the same page?
Yes, we are.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify everything because I know talking about education can be quite complicated, talking about education between different countries.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, I know that for you to get into university, it's very, very hard with the SATs and etc. But we are not gonna talk about this right now, right?
That is an entirely different story. Okay, so I decided to attend a liberal arts university in the state of Tennessee. And when I arrived at university, my idea was to study English, which is to say English literature, pretty much because my brother studied that and I like to read and I was a relatively good writer and I just did not know what else to do, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And after my first year of university, I still really had no idea what I wanted to do. But after my first year, I decided to travel to Spain during the summer. So my university has a summer program in Spain where you walk the Camino de Santiago. We've talked about this many times on the podcast, but I had already
Did
taken.
we?
Yes, we have. But my first year of university, I took a Spanish class. I absolutely hated it. I was terrible. That was my only C that I've ever made in my life. So in the US, we have A, B, C, D, and F. A is the best, F is the worst. I was always a pretty good student, normally A's and B's. My only C ever was my first year of Spanish because I was so bad at it.
¿Qué pasa?
No sé, es que no lo sé. So I was so bad at Spanish that my Spanish teacher would not write me a recommendation to participate in the summer program in Spain because you have to have a Spanish teacher say, hey, this is a good student. He's interested in Spanish. You should let him travel to Spain. She was like, no, Foster, this is not your thing. But I also played handball in university, which is just a strange little sport where
We
you
had that.
you just hit a ball against a wall. It's awesome.
Against a wall? Handball is against two groups. Like you had to like to kill the other person with the ball, you know?
Yeah. Technically, you're not killing anyone. When I say against a wall, I'm just saying you hit the ball and then the ball hits the wall, right?
That's crazy. It's not how we call it. Handball is something else for us.
What do you call it?
I think it's dodgeball for you.
Yeah, totally different games.
Yeah, so
Yeah, handball. Imagine handball is exactly the same as racquetball. Do you know what racquetball is?
yeah.
Handball is just racquetball with no rackets.
Okay. Well, okay. Let's continue.
Okay, so I was playing handball, and fortunately for me, some professors at the university also played handball. And the two best professors, the two really good handball players, were the most important Spanish professors. So when they recognized that I wanted to travel to Spain, but I was a terrible student, they talked to my Spanish teacher and said, hey, give this kid a chance. He sucks at Spanish, but he's good at handball, so let's bring him along. And that's kind of the start of my story. I traveled to Spain. I loved traveling in Spain. I loved the country, the food, the people. And I really started getting interested in Spanish, in the Spanish language.
Yeah, but Foster, you haven't told us yet which was your major. Like, if you have to tell someone, like.
I know.
Uh-huh.
I have purposefully not told that part of the story yet. So officially, my major is international relations. It's a little bit complicated because this was the first year that my university started this major, and it was very vague. It was very undefined.
Mm-hmm.
So more or less, you could say you were an international studies major, and the only requirement, there are a lot of requirements, but the two most important requirements, number one, you have to study abroad for a semester.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking, perfect. Okay, I want to travel. And number two, you have to learn a foreign language.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking, perfect. Okay, I can travel to Spain. I can learn Spanish, and I can get a major at the same time, but I don't have to just take a lot of boring Spanish classes. I can kind of take whatever class I want and travel a lot.
Interesting. Because for us, Relações Internacionais is more like a politics. I'm tired.
Politics.
Thank you. Situation.
Yes. So at my university, you also had that option. You could be an international relations major with a specific area of focus. So you could focus on international politics. You could focus on global finance. But you could also focus on specific areas of the world. So my specialization was technically the Hispanic world, which means Spain and Latin America. So I was an international relations major with a specialization in the Hispanic world.
Awesome. Awesome.
So that's just a very long story to say, first, I was really bad at languages, so don't worry about it. Second, I still don't really have any idea what I want to do in my life, and everything's okay. Third, the only reason I was an international studies major was so I could travel the world. So using education as an excuse to travel, see people, learn about new places and cultures.
Have you ever thought about becoming a diplomat?
Yeah, I used to think about it a lot, but I don't think I could work for government.
No, I know, but like a lot of people who likes to travel and they are super into languages and etc., they would love to become a diplomat, right? And I mean, it would be nice.
Yeah, I thought about working for the State Department very seriously for a few years, but then I realized I really don't like rules. I don't really like listening to authority. So I recognized, I can pretty much be a diplomat without any of the responsibilities. I can still travel.
I can pretty much become a podcaster, much funnier, and you can choose where you live because you don't know when you're a diplomat where you're going to.
Yes, that is the moral of the story. Podcasters are the fun diplomats.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank
Claire,
you, Foster.
I hope that answers your question. Thank you for the question. And we will talk to you guys tomorrow.
Bye! Muito obrigada por ter escutado mais um episódio aqui do Inglês de Necrorádio. É muito bom ter você juntinho assim de nós. Faz muito, muito carinho no nosso coração, digamos assim. Então você que está interessado em saber mais sobre os nossos produtos e saber mais sobre a gente, o que a gente oferece para vocês em relação a estudo, a challenge, a curso, vá lá no inglêsnecro.com e você pode ver mais sobre as worksheets, por exemplo.
Yeah. If you want to really improve your English, if you want to learn more about the ways you can do that and just connect with us on a deeper level, go to inglesnocru.com. And as always, keep up the good fight.
And lose well.
See you guys tomorrow.
Bye.